Okay, this morning I want to talk to you a little bit about how the Greeks performed these plays in ancient Greek times. During the discussion, a whole lot of you mentioned the fact that the ancient Greeks seemed to be very competitive. And you cited the fact that they seemed to be interested in war. We also know that they had the Olympic Games and uh, built tracks for various athletic events. Um, they were also very competitive in the arts. Every year there were prizes that were awarded for the best poetry and the best drama in each of the city states. And the Greeks also believed that you had to keep doing it. In other words, you couldn't just say, "Oh, I was a famous poet in such and such a year." You had to keep participating in these contests and winning the prizes. You couldn't rest on your laurels. Nowadays, we seem to have actors and uh, athletes who uh, talk about their past a lot and want to revive. You know, Keanu Reeves is going to make another version of his old movie, and so it's a whole different way of thinking. So the ancient Greece constructed amphitheaters that were very large, so that the plays could be performed and the competition could occur. Um, when I went to the amphitheater, the ruins of the amphitheater at Messina, the day that I went there, there were a bunch of American sailors there. And the docent, the guide person that was there, told us all that the amphitheaters were designed so that you could hear a pin drop from the top seats of the amphitheater. So these sailors, in typical fashion, they divided into two groups, and one group stayed down on the floor of the stage, and the other group went all the way up to the top of the amphitheater. And the group on the stage were whispering dirty words, and the group up on the top were giggling. So it is true that the acoustics were really good, and one of the reasons why the acoustics had to be so good is because the actors wore masks, and they wore masks that were probably 1.5 times as big as a normal head would be. So that would muffle the voices, plus it makes the character extremely static. They were static also because they stood still when they performed their lines. The chorus sometimes was in, I'm going to talk about the chorus in a minute. The chorus sometimes had a little bricked off area where they stood, but they also did not move. And there was no such thing as, stage props or scenery or anything like that. Uh, we are used to today CGI and stuff like that that can bring us anything, splattered blood and all kinds of things. The Greeks could not do that on the stage. And so, um, obviously, the important thing to the Greek audience were the words, because the actors were not jumping around or dancing or anything on the stage, although occasionally they did have some music in between scenes, but that was not the actors doing it. Um, so, because they're masked, they're standing still, uh, Greek playwrights had to do a lot of things to make sure that the audience got what they were saying. Shakespeare did these sorts of things as well. So this is the same situation. He had to make certain that the audience understood what was going on. So one of the ways that Greek playwrights made certain that the audience got the plot was to repeat things. And that is one of the functions of the chorus. The chorus has several functions. The chorus, first and foremost, reinforces what has just happened in the scene so that us reading it or whoever's watching it can get it, understand it. The second thing that the chorus does is to represent the feelings of the common people. Comedies and tragedies are not usually about common people. And in the case of a tragedy, you have a king usually, and there are all these people in the kingdom who have some opinion about what the heck's going on, but that's not part of the play. So the chorus oftentimes brings in the opinions of the outside world. In Shakespeare's plays, normally it's some messenger that comes running in who tells you what was going on. In Julius Caesar, there's a lot of fighting that's going on off stage, and so we have all these messengers that come in and tell the main characters how the battle is going. The third thing that the chorus, well, I should finish the one of the things about reflecting what the common people are thinking is that, as you and I well know from the internet, what the normal person in the world is thinking changes fairly rapidly. One day we're in favor of carbohydrates and the next day we're not. We have a lot of fluctuation. So the third thing that the chorus does is sort of argue, discuss with the main character. And we're going to have scenes where the chorus is going to be talking to Creon and trying to get Creon to think through his beliefs and thoughts. And once again, that's a device for the audience to think about what is going on in the play. So, as I said before, there are lots of videos out there about Antigone. I will probably post for you a couple of things. There's a BBC production where the way they did the chorus is rather interesting. And stages were small. They couldn't have a bunch of people on stage. UCSC has put on a couple of Greek plays outside in the meadow up there. And, because it has a vast expanse of space, oftentimes they have large amounts of people popping out from behind the trees and things like that. But the ancient Greeks could not do that. The stage was a very small, fixed space. I think that's it. So enjoy it. If you have questions, email me, whatever. I would give you my phone number, but my phone is very unreliable. Our signal is unreliable. Okay, bye.